Hi, this is Gayle. Welcome to my Sunday night live stream. Tonight, we're going to be talking about a little something different. It's a takeoff on what we talked about last week. Last week, we talked about how to make money online, whether it's YouTube or your blog or freelance writing. We talked about how to do that. This week, we're going to be talking about whether or not we should self publish a book using a print on demand company. That's a question a lot of people wrestle with. You've written a book, you put a lot of time into it, you want to get it out there, but how? We ask ourselves, should I use a self-publish using a print-on-demand company? Should I self-publish from a publisher who's going to give me hundreds of books that I have to buy and then resell? Or should I go the traditional publishing route? And what are the pitfalls of self-publishing versus going with a traditional publishing company? So those are some of the things that we're going to be talking about tonight. So make yourself comfortable and sit back and just relax. We're going to hang out for a while and talk about this. I've published a few books now. Let's see. 2, 3, 4, 5 books I've self-published. 2 of those are still available through Amazon. It's very easy to self-publish your book and get it on Amazon, and we'll talk a little bit about that. Stellar is here. Hi, Stellar. Welcome. Stellar actually helped me self-publish a book and put it on Amazon, which is kind of neat. She's my go-to gal for lots of things. My right hand and left hand sometimes even. So Stellar, I'm glad to see you, as always. So let's see, we've got 3 watching now. Go ahead and jump right on into the chat room. Don't forget, if you haven't subscribed, go ahead and hit that button and join the channel by subscribing. Click that bell and get all the notifications. And of course, if you like the video, give me a big thumbs up, because that helps me out with search engine and on YouTube and so forth. But that's probably another video, honestly. And don't forget to give me a like. Thank you. So, which should we do? Should we look at publishing self-publishing print on demand, or should we go talk to a publishing company? That's a really tough decision to have to make, because there's pros and cons either way, and there is some pitfalls to avoid with self-publishing or with a traditional publishing company. Those pitfalls, some of the things are not necessarily make or break situations, but they are things to keep in mind. So we're going to talk about some of those. I've got a tweet coming in. Let me grab that. Or a text. I'm not sure which. Okay, this is a text message saying hello to everybody in the live stream. So hello and welcome. So let's do a quick here. Let me kind of go back and regroup. I've got 5 watching. Do go ahead, dive into that chat room. We've got Tanya Lambert in and Stellar. So welcome. Good to see both of you. Good to see both of you. So let's see. Self-publishing versus traditional publishing. I really wasn't sure what to do when I published my first book. And I made some mistakes with that. And hopefully my experience is going to keep you from making some of the same mistakes, because they cost me time and they cost me money, and nobody likes making mistakes anyway. But most of us don't have money to burn. If we do have money to burn, we're probably going to be talking about a whole lot larger scale than just a few hundred or a few thousand books. So that being said, One of the books that I have written is Does God Still Love Me? I'm going to pull these up on Amazon just so you guys can see that I am a legit person talking about all of this. Because that's something else about YouTube that you always want to pay attention to. When someone is talking about what you should or shouldn't do, pay attention. Have they actually walked that path? Or is it a lot of, I think I will, or I'm probably going to, or this is how I might go? Keep an eye open for that. Because you really, if you're going to rely on help, hi, Gay Jerry, welcome in. If you're going to rely on help online, make sure it's accurate, okay? You owe that to yourself to just pay attention to that because you don't want to get stuck with bad advice either. So let me just pull this up. This is in my Amazon store, and it is, well, I've got a lot on my Amazon store, but it's under the miscellaneous category in my store. Let me pull this up. Just so you'll know there. Okay, and this is just some of the other things I have in the store. Okay, we're not really needing that. But there you go. The two books I have out right now are Secondhand Hope and Does God Still Love Me? Both of those center around the nonprofit world. We also helped our church put out a book called Advice to a Young Christian Bride. So both of those are still up there. I've also published a training manual and a devotional. Both of those are retired now. But I went self-publishing on all of that after talking to a traditional publisher. And we'll get to that in just a second. You know, what are the pitfalls and what do you want to think about if you're talking to a traditional publisher? Hi, Melissa. Welcome. Don't forget, you all, click that thumbs up button and give me a like. Okay. This is a takeoff on some of the things that we talked about last week when we were talking about making money online. And I will get that link posted for you in case you want to reference that at some point in time. This is a relatively new series for me. I've been making money online for over a decade now. YouTube's a fairly new platform for me in that I had the channel for about a decade, did nothing with it. I just let it sit there. And then about 2 years ago, I really picked it up and I've started doing things ever since. So let me put this link in for last week's video, because the two go together when you're talking about how to make money online versus self-publishing. There's some overlap there. Now, of course, there are other ways to make money online, but we're going to start here, okay? So, making money online by publishing your book, whether you self-publish or however, whoops. Sorry about that. I got another text in. Okay. So, whether I self-publish or go the traditional route, there are pitfalls. One of the pitfalls about, okay, my video is behind. Let me see if there's anything I can do on the back end to fix that. I don't know that there is. Let me see, info and settings. I'm using Google Hangouts. It can be a little temperamental, but that's the software that will run the easiest on my computer. Live control room. Okay. Going back into the live control room. Did that help? I only have one thing I can do. So let me know if that helps. Okay, Stellar says it's behind for her too. Okay. The audio is a half second ahead of the video. Lovely. It did help some. Okay. I only have the one thing that I can do, so I'm sorry. YouTube is being YouTube tonight, it looks like. Publishing, self-publishing versus traditional publishing. Let me dive into that and hope that this will clear up some of the issues as we go on. Okay, Melissa says that hers is good. Awesome. That's good news. Okay. All right. So let's talk about a few steps that you should do before you make the decision of whether to self-publish or go the traditional route. Some things that you should do to your book. After you've written it, go through and reread it. Take the paragraphs backwards if you need to. Make sure you get all of the errors out of the way. Okay, very important. Also, you want to have a friend read that book before you publish it because they can give you valuable feedback. Now, I know, don't pick out a friend who will tell you that the book is wonderful, because your book is going to be wonderful. All right. You're going to put that much time into it and that much care into making the book the best you can. But what you want is a friend that will tell you the truth about the book. If there are areas in the book where it reads slowly, you want your friend to tell you that. That's crucial, because if you put out a product that nobody wants to read, you're wasting your time. And I know that seems like an obvious step, but it's very much overlooked because sometimes you don't want to bother your friends. This is a time where you do want to do that. So that's critical, because you want to put out a book that's as polished as possible. So reread it, try to get the errors out, have a friend give you feedback, and then go through and look at your friend's feedback. See if you think those changes need to be made, and be objective, okay? The other thing that you want to do is, I would encourage you to print out a copy of your book. Don't try to do it all online. Online's great, but when it comes to proofreading, your eyes and your brain handle those technical aspects much differently if you're in print form than they do online. Do those two things. Right. Okay, you're still off, but it may be your phone. I'm sorry. Tanya, I think personally, yours is a book I would want to read. That's part of why I have trouble writing. Okay. And we can talk at some point about how to get started writing a book. We can talk about that, because it is a challenge to sit down and try to decide what you want to say. For this point, though, for this live stream, we're just going to be talking about, oh, it is fixed. All right. That makes my day, Stellar. Thank you for telling me it's fixed. Do continue to give me feedback on if it needs to be tweaked again. Like I said, I only have one thing that I can do. So that's what I would do first with the self-publishing. Have somebody look at the book with a very critical eye. The second thing that I would suggest is look thoroughly into each. If you go the publishing route, you're going to want to have an agent that can really put your book out there. And you're going to want to get solid recommendations about what agents to use. And also, you're going to want to, when you enter that contract, you're going to want to really look at those fine, small print details. Now, I would suggest if you're going to go that route, have somebody look over that contract with you and maybe look over it 2 or 3 times. The idea, though, when I talked with a publishing company, I actually walked from a traditional publishing company to go self-publishing because of some of the editorial differences that they wanted to do. Those editorial changes that they wanted to make were very important to me. I had a very clear vision for what I wanted to convey in my book and what direction I wanted to go with it. That did not mesh with their idea. My book, Does God Still Love Me, is written in bites, so to speak. So you can pick up it's for survivors of sexual assault primarily. And they could pick up the book, go to the section that they wanted to read, get that information, and they could put it down and then come back. Well, what the publishing company that I talked with, and I'm not going to name their name, okay, but what the publishing company that I talked with wanted me to do is to take 2 or 3 questions out of the book and then develop the entire book around those 2 or 3 questions. It probably wasn't a bad idea, but it's not an editorial choice that I wanted to make. I had a clear vision. I knew what I wanted, and that wasn't it. So I had a lot of thinking that I had to do on that. You know, are they right? Are they not right? What should I do? What should I not do? So the other thing that I ran into with the traditional publishing company is the profit margin on the book. And are we still good on the audio? Okay, I'm going to hope we're still good on the audio. Let me know. And don't forget to give me a like. I've got 5 watching now. Thank you very much. Don't forget to come on in and give me a like on the video and dive into the chat room. Okay. The profit margin on it is better. Okay, good. What I found out, at least from this publishing company, is that the profit margin on the book wasn't what I wanted. They were going to offer me a 75-cent profit margin on every book sold. We had negotiated that up. Their first offer was about a quarter, and I was like, no, we can do better than 25 cents. The trade-off on that is, you know, did I want a higher profit margin and possibly sell fewer books, or did I want to sell more books at a lower profit margin? That was something I had to wrestle with. Ultimately, I decided to go for the little bit higher profit margin than to go with the selling more books. But that is partially because of how I was going to market the books. The thing about marketing with self-publishing versus a traditional publishing company is that, and thank you for the like, Tanya, I appreciate that. The thing is, you're going to market that book yourself pretty much whichever way you go. A traditional publishing company is going to help with that, and they may help you by setting up a couple of book signings, but the bulk of it, according to the company I spoke with, is going to be done by you. So to me, if I was going to do the bulk of my own marketing, why did I want that? I could be in control of where and how my book was marketed. This particular book, I marketed a lot through speaking engagements, through going out and talking to people one-on-one. So that's how I felt like marketing was going to be the best. Yes, it was available online. Yes, it's available in my blog, on Amazon, on Lulu.com, which is who I chose. But one-on-one speaking to groups is primarily the way that I felt like was going to be best for this book to be marketed. It's a very small niche market, if you want to think about that, but I chose the way I did because that seemed to be best for my book. I wanted it to be out there to inspire people, to encourage people, and I felt that going to the traditional publisher with the editorial choices that they wanted to make about the book, I felt like it was going to be counterproductive. So that combined with a lower profit margin, I understand I may have sold more books, but you know, that's tough. And if you're going to go speak, the other thing is this particular publishing company was not going to give me like a big fancy allowance to go speak or anything like that. They were going to help me set up like 2 book signings. My cost to get there was on me. They were going to give me a small upfront advance, but not enough to really cover the cost of going to a book signing that was really going to be more than about an hour, 2 hours away. So that's another reason why I did not go through the traditional publisher. Let's see what we got in the chat. Tanya says speaking to groups is easier for her than writing. I can understand that, because when I speak to a group, everything is all cut and dried. I know what I'm going to say. I know how I'm going to say it, so I can understand that. You're talking about speaking to groups being easier than writing. That makes totally good sense to me. What I also found is they kind of go together. And once I put together how I'm going to speak to a group, it's easier to put that in writing. Okay. So obviously having a story is the primary thing. But those are some of my thoughts about why I did not go with a traditional publishing company. Another thing is you've got to look at who's going to own your story. Okay. This traditional publishing company that I talked with wanted to own any details that I put in their book. Now, I didn't want that to happen because I felt like that was going to take away from any potential future that I had with answering some of those questions. So the combination of low profit margin, insufficient, well, what I perceive to be insufficient help to advance the book, and those other details that I just mentioned are what steered me away from a traditional publishing company. One of the things, though, about self-publishing, I actually self-published by 2 different companies. And the difference in the 2 companies was really night and day. I published first early on, and print demand did not come as far as it has now. And yes, Stellar, I think you're right. Knowing who owns the right is important for creative work. You are so right. The first publisher that I went with has since changed names and all sorts of things. And what I had to do with them is I had to pay $950 in advance. They took my book. They were supposed to format it for me, but they totally annihilated the formatting that I wanted. There were a lot of errors in the description of the book and the About Me page that I didn't like. I could go on, and there's probably a reason why that company is no longer available. Yes, that was a lot of money. And I felt like the product was substandard. I really did. And we went back and forth for weeks over fixing the errors and formatting and the spelling issues. If my name is on the front cover and it's spelled correctly, when you do the write-up about me on the bio, don't misspell my name. So we went back and forth. And then the company said, look, we only allow 2 revisions for free. And I was like, you keep misspelling my name. You've got to fix this. So, yeah, we ran into some issues. Finally, we came out with a workable book, but it was a lot of going back and forth. So, what I did then is around this time, the nature of self-publishing was changing. And that was really good for us authors. How long did it take you to self-publish? Well, that's one of the things. It kind of depends on the company that you used. That particular company that's really not available anymore took months and months, because we went back and forth on the editing, and it was crazy. And that was one of the things about, like, how do I choose a company to self-publish with that won't rip me off? And at the time, those choices were more limited. What I did later, and this probably was about 2 years down the road, that I found a publishing company that I could publish with, that had a product that I liked, and that is lulu.com. Now, lulu.com, you can put it up there, and in just a few minutes, you are published. How about that? It doesn't cost anything to publish on lulu.com. However, okay, there is one little thing to that I should clarify. If you want your book published on Amazon, you have to purchase an ISBN. There is a fee for that. There's nothing you can do. It's just the way it is. So with Lulu, I was up and running after I wrote the book, had it proofread, had some editing done, the formatting, everything. Then the book was live in just a few minutes. So it didn't take long. I did opt to go ahead and buy the ISBNs. And that is something that I would recommend for most books. A minute. Here we go. That's something I'd recommend for most books, because that ISBN, it stands for International Standard Book Number, and that code, it's like a 10-digit, 13-digit code. That's how book companies find it. That's how they put that out there. So that is something that you're going to want to do. Now, some companies, you don't have to do that immediately. And I'm not sure. CreateSpace is an Amazon-based platform, and I don't think you have to buy an ISBN for that. However, here's the thing. If you want it available on Amazon, you're great. If you want it in bookstores, if you want it on Barnes & Noble, any other booksellers, then you've got to get the ISBN. Right, it does. It lets the library find your book. So, I really, for me, self-publishing was the way to go completely. And I would definitely, I liked my experience publishing with lulu.com, and I liked the experience that we had. Stellar actually did a lot of work in helping me with the CreateSpace with Amazon. And there's a lot to be said for just having your book on Amazon versus having it other places. The ISBN is not expensive. Right. I think it is Stellar. But, well, I'm not sure it's an ISBN, though. But it does make it. I'll double check that. The ISBN is not expensive comparatively. And here's the thing. Also, you don't have to do it immediately. You can wait a little while. So if you wanted to have your book available, let's say you made it available on lulu.com, but you didn't have the money immediately to buy that ISBN, they would let you come back later and add that on. So if you needed to sell a few books, then you could do that. The other thing I like about Lulu.com is that they pay by PayPal. And I appreciate that because I don't even have to think about it. Yeah. But Lulu.com is they do give you the option to publish to Kindle. Hi, Spider-Man, welcome. So let's see, Create Space gives you the option to publish to Kindle. It's ISBNs included. So there you go. Okay. So there's a lot of things to consider. I really, like I said, I like Lulu. The other company, and there is a lag when you self-publish from the time somebody buys the book to the time that you get your money, and that can vary within companies. The traditional publishing company that I went to wanted me to have a whopping 90 days from the time I sold the book till the time they cut me a check. With some print-on-demand companies, it's a lot faster than that. I want to say with Lulu, it's like 30 days or 45 days. See, how did you get the book bound if you self-publish, printed, I mean? Okay, well, CreateSpace and Lulu, both, they handle that. Okay, all you do is you upload your book, and then you set your profit margin. And when those books are sold, they print it, bind it, ship it, and everything. So you don't actually have to have any product on hand. Now, you can purchase product to take to seminars and workshops that you may do to have them on hand. Yes, they can. You can have different options on creating the covers. The cost of the book with Lulu, I think I make, I'd have to go back and check, but I think I make like $2 on every book that's sold. So obviously, if I go and I'm speaking, I have to sell a lot of books. But it was important to me to keep the price point reasonable on the book. I think that it's pretty easily done to kind of price yourself out of business. So there we go. So, and that's, that's the other nice thing about self-publishing, is because you're not having to stock a lot of inventory unless you choose to, which is nice. The self-publishing company that I wanted to do at first, I had to buy several books right up front to be able to have anything to hand out. And I was going to have them only sent to me, which with the self-publishing company that I chose, what I could do is I could just go into that account and I could have them sent directly from that account. Click, click, done. I wasn't going to have to wait on the publishing company to send books, to print them, bind them, ship them to me, and then have me turn around and take those same books and ship them out to people to read. Because you always want to have a few copies that you can do that. So that for me, I would not go that route again to save my soul. Yeah. Okay, Stellar, you used a template and really liked it. That's good. That's real good. The templates, I think, are very helpful. I mean, they're there for a reason. So, and Tanya, the book that you got, that's actually was put together by Stellar Piper. And yeah, she used that. She used their template, picked out their book cover, and so forth. All of that, and she used CreateSpace. Yeah. And there are other options for book cover. If you wanted to hire a graphic artist, you can go to Upwork or to Fiverr and get that done. You may have a friend that's good with a camera that You might want photos of flowers or something. I'm glad you like it, Tanya. Uh, So you may have a friend with a camera that can help you out with the cover art that you may want to use on your book if you don't want to use one of the templates. Interestingly enough, the company that I used for the first self-publisher, they just kind of wanted to give me a plain kind of generic book cover. I was going to have to pay extra for that. And I didn't have to once I switched publishing companies. So, and it looks like I've got somebody that's bouncing in and out and on and off of the channel. So hello and welcome. And of course, feel free to go ahead and join us in the chat anytime. So, but yeah, I got one that's constantly bouncing in and out. So hopefully, but that's good though, because it's that many, it counts that as that many more people that sees the video, which is kind of cool, or sees the live stream, which is kind of cool. So whoever's doing that, you're really doing me a big favor. So I thank you. Print on demand publishing has a lot of things going for it, but so does the traditional publisher. It's just that with a traditional publisher, when you talk to them, okay, you have those things to keep in mind that we've already talked about, but there is this sort of a change that's happened with traditional publishing through the years. And that is, unless you're an author that's got a super powerful book that they can be guaranteed of making a big profit on, like if you're J.K. Rowling and you've got something like the Harry Potter series, they're going to want to talk to you. If you're average person, probably not. What they're going to want to see is what kind of track record do you have for getting your name out there, for being out there, and that's going to help determine what they're willing to do for you to help you market your book. Now, in this case, for me, I talked to this traditional publisher, and I had been named a Daily Point of Light, and I had recognitions from the presidents and so forth, and I had some name recognition. So I was really kind of frustrated with the offer that they gave me, and we went back and forth on it a lot. People were really surprised to find out that they weren't going to do as much to help me. And that's just because the whole marketing environment has changed. You're going to do a lot of the promotion on your own, like I just said. So, and you're not going to get a big advance unless you have that huge name recognition. So that's something else to keep in mind. So print on demand publishing can be the way to go. So if you're looking at, should I publish a book using the print on demand company, or should I self-publish, or if you aren't sure how to choose a print on demand company, we can talk about that. And there are some pitfalls of publishing your own book. You're going to want to take some time and really think about this. If you're going to self-publish, I would strongly encourage you sit down and do a marketing plan. Even if you don't necessarily have to have like a 5 or 10 page business plan, just even having some notes, some bullet points about how you want to market that it kind of like create your own checkoff sheet. That's really helpful because you've got to have some kind of roadmap to go by, because if you don't have that, then you're going to get lost. And that's the worst thing that you could have happen. So yeah. So how about, does that help at all? What do you guys think? And we can, in a few weeks, I'm working on a little devotional, and I might be able to do a tutorial on how I self-publish that, and perhaps I can walk through it with, maybe do it online here on a live stream. We can definitely consider that. So, yeah. So what do you guys have any questions about self-publishing a book versus using a traditional print company? Yes, you can definitely ask random questions. Pat, please go ahead. Oh, yeah, you may. It's also not for the faint of heart. I know I've given you a lot of information on kind of what to look for. You have gaps in your memory that you need to get around. Okay. Tanya, that makes sense. And what you can do when you write your book is you can write your story and then don't worry about the gaps, because we've all got some gaps in our memory depending on what we've gone through. And no, Pat, we're not going to do that. The random questions have to relate to the topic we're discussing. Okay. So I got totally off track there. That's two. Okay. The gaps. Gotcha. I wouldn't worry too much about the gaps, because the thing is, everybody's going to have some gaps, and you don't have to have every single detail in the book. You just have to have enough details to get your story across. In fact, sometimes the more itty bitty details that you put in, it can actually detract from the larger picture of your book. Certainly, there are books where there's room for lots of details, so don't hear me say that. All I'm suggesting is that you may not have to put all the details in that you think you do. Oh, that's an interesting concept too, Stellar. That's a really interesting concept. And again, I want to say that the person that's bouncing in and out, I love it. You are doing me a huge favor by coming in and coming back out, because that really shows YouTube that how popular this is, because they record it as different people coming in and out. So I thank you for that. And let's see. If I'm honest in my book, there will be difficult subjects due to abuse. That makes total sense. That does. And that's okay. So, yeah, Stellar's saying that's okay. I agree. I think people want books that are either super fiction or real, personally. That's just me. Yeah. Oh, some of the pitfalls I think we've talked about as far as publishing your own book is the marketing, and you do have to format the book yourself. Also, you want to be careful. I made a stupid mistake once on one of my books, and I kept multiple drafts of the book on my computer that I was working on. And I did not think about naming them draft one, draft two, and so forth. And I made several copies so that I could see the progression. And that way, because you might make a change and then you go back and reread it and you tweak it some more and then you reread it and decide you shouldn't have changed it to begin with. So I liked having multiple copies, but where it came back to haunt me is when I went to publish and I clicked draft and sent it and did the upload and realized I uploaded a draft and not a final copy. And I did not realize that until it was published. So there you go. So learn from my stupidity. And also, when you do a print-on-demand publishing company, one of the things about that is They have the templates that make it easier. But yeah, before you go either route, sit down and just make a plan for how you're going to market it. You know, is it only going to be social media? Are you going to do webinars? Are you going to go speak? Is it going to be through some sort of seminar? Hey, carry on, Jeff and John. Welcome. I appreciate you coming by. So, Jeff and John, we're talking about self-publishing tonight. So, and I appreciate you coming by. So, you know, the importance of having some kind of marketing plan can't be overstated. You know, if you're going to use a blog, if you're going to use social media, if you're going to do, some people use print and do direct mail. I haven't done any of that. I've been happy with conferences and speaking. But it's all a matter. Here's the thing. It's all a matter of you, your personality, and what works for you. If you're not comfortable doing TV spots to promote your book, don't do it. If you're not comfortable doing sending out emails and so forth, you can hire a publicist to help you with it, or you can find another way around it. So there's lots of different things that you can do to help to get help with promoting your book, and some of them are not very expensive. Oh, did you carry on? That is awesome. That is awesome. I'm glad you had a great crowd. So, and thank you, Pat. I appreciate it. Staying on topic is very helpful. So, I have a publicist that helped me with the promotion of my book and also my seminars, and she did a great job. So I would really, you know, if you want to go the self-publishing route, you can get a publicist, and they don't always have to be super expensive. Tanya, you can hire a person to write it if you want to. That would be a ghostwriter, or I'm sorry, a person to type it. My brain mistranslated that. But yes, you can hire a person to type it. What you may want to do, what I use a whole lot, because you guys know I've gone back to school, what I do a whole lot when I do my papers for school is I actually will use my phone. And you lost your Dragon Naturally Speaking software. Okay, do you have Word, Microsoft Word? If you do, there's a program on that. The other thing that I'll do sometimes is I will take my phone and open up an email to myself and hit that record button on the email and just go and just speak right into my phone, have it sent directly to myself, and boom, there I go. A ghostwriter, you could probably talk to Stellar on here. She's done some ghostwriting. I have too. There's also, okay, check that, Tanya. Check that first thing. I may have Microsoft Word open right now. If so, maybe I can find it, okay? I'll have to look. I use my phone and email myself a lot. Okay, Microsoft Office just crashed. Okay, let me open this back up. Give me just a second, and I will have that answer. But yeah, I use dictation a lot. What kind of day you had, Gayle? Oh my goodness, Jeff and John. It's been interesting. I've got a couple of different papers that I have to write for school, a couple of big projects due. Working today, it's been lively. But thank you for asking. I hope your day's gone well. Yeah. Okay. Tanya, up here in, let me see. Let me see if I can do this as a screen share so you can see it. Back? Maybe. Come on. There we go. All right. So I'm screen sharing here. Okay, this is my homework assignment, so bear with me here. But up here, I don't know if you can see that, but it's dictate. And it's office dictation. And for me, it's in the upper right-hand corner. I don't remember if I had to do something special to set it up originally or if it was just there. But this is in under home and then all the way over to the right. And it's got a video. So, and it's available. Now it is available with Office 365 subscribers. Okay. So that may be, I think that's like $10 a month, I think, for that. But for me, the dictation helps tremendously. I'm a lot quicker with my thoughts when I'm dictating than I am writing them. And then it's just a matter of going back through, changing what I need to change and doing the edits on it. So, places like Fiverr and Upwork have folks on there that will, thank you, Carry On, Jeff and John. I appreciate it. And y'all, I do encourage you to go visit Carry On, Jeff and John whenever you have time. They do a lot of cooking and they're hugely supportive. So that's true, Stellar. That's a very good point. And you guys can work that out. And Tanya, what you may want to do is just speak it and have like on the word, the dictation, and then have somebody tweak the spelling and so forth. Because heaven knows dictation doesn't always do the right spelling. So. Okay, it's painful to type. I get you. Yeah, I love dictation. I use it all the time. So, and for me, it's a matter of, like I said, I'll open up an email and I'll speak my paper or my blog post or whatever into the email, and then I'll go through. Oh, you saw that. Okay. Thank you. Carry On, Jeff and John. Okay. Well, in that case, you know, a ghostwriter may be the way you want to go. You're still going to have to provide some written information. So, yeah, you guys touch. Okay, got it. I was just going to say, you guys are both in the group, so you can touch base there. Yeah. So then it's a matter, you know, of making your plan and deciding how you want to market it. So, and there's lots of options there. For marketing, there's more out there than you would ever think. But having a plan after you decide whether you want to self-publish it or go with a traditional publisher. So, okay, handwriting is easier. Okay, Tony, you can always do the handwriting and then scan it. And there are folks on Fiverr that will take your scanned handwritten material and type it out using that. Yeah. So yeah, there are lots of options when it comes to actually creating the book. So I hope this helps. I hope this helps because, the decision to publish is huge. And it's different when you're going the self-publishing route versus the traditional. Both can be intimidating. And of course, if you go traditional, be prepared for rejections, lots and lots of rejections. J.K. Rowling had them, and every author out there that's ever been with a traditional publishing company. It's very rare that you ever hear of anybody with their book picked up on the first go round. So I would say if you don't like rejection, or if you want a bigger profit margin on your book, then go ahead and go with self-publishing would be my suggestion. You guys now know why I went with it. But yeah. So what questions do you guys have? I prattled on for about an hour. Speakerphone on your phone is good. That's true. Let's see. Let me see if I can pull that up because I forget. Or Stellar, can you reach out to her? Let's see. Let me see if I can create a post and tag both of you guys in it. It's taking a minute to roll in over here. Okay. Tanya, I think I can tag both of you in it. Let me see. Give me just a second here. Oops, I cannot type. Okay. There you go. Oops, no, it didn't post. Oh, man, why didn't it post? Posting now. Good gracious, that was a large book cover that came up. I'm going to take that post and make that cover a little bit more reasonable. Okay, sorry, I know, rabbit trail. I should not go down so many rabbit trails. Okay. All right, so you're both tagged. I've got you in there. So, yeah. So you guys can communicate with each other in the groups and get that book going. I would say if you use Fiverr for ghostwriting to get your book out there, to look carefully at the reviews on each writer. And when you go to pick out a self-publishing company, if that's the way you go, look at the reviews. Okay, just do a search, pick out your book publishing company name and do a search, because you want to make sure that they've got a strong track record for providing quality products. Lulu.com, CreateSpace, I really feel like those are the two leaders out there when it comes to print on demand publishing. They both obviously create space being tied in with Amazon. Lulu was one of the first self-publishing options out there that didn't charge. So both of them have a real strong, solid track record. Both of them are very helpful, great templates. So, what, Spider-Man? Okay, I got you. And I appreciate that, Spider. I do. Yeah, you guys connect about that. So, Spider, if you see her in any of the other rooms that you're in, maybe you could tell her that and apologize. So, yeah, Tanya, you and Stellar can hook up there in the forum. Okay? We've been going at this for an hour. Does anybody else have any more questions? I'll give a minute here for the stream to catch up. Okay, good. Good. Yes, I think it was a misunderstanding. Okay, Tanya, I'm glad it's helpful. That was my goal. Good, helpful, solid information. And if anybody watching this, make sure you subscribe and don't forget to click that like button. If you subscribe, don't forget to hit that bell so you can get notifications on all of the videos. We're going to talk some more on how to make money online on future Sunday night videos. So thank you all for watching and for being in here. How do you have guests on your live stream? Let me know that you want to be a guest and you want to be on it. I've got 2 channels now. I've got this one and Overcoming the Obstacles. So what we would do is I would send you a link to a Google Hangout. It's a very simple process. Google walks you through the whole thing. You do have to have a Google account, which you do if you have YouTube. And I send you that link just a few minutes before the scheduled time. And you click that, and then you're on the live stream. If you're on Overcoming Obstacles, I do have a packet of information that I send out to people. So, yeah, but that's a good question. The other channel, let me get that for you too, because the other channel right now is nothing but live streams. That's what I want to focus on with it, because it's Overcoming the Obstacles. And I want people to share their stories about their obstacles and about how they overcame them, because I think that's the way to add some positive energy to it. Yes, you can use your phone when you do that, as long as you're not the one initiating it. So, or at least I couldn't on my phone. There may be some apps or something that you might be able to use. But as far as a Google Hangout, if you're being invited to come onto the show, then, yeah, just all you do is you would just click that link and come on in, and you could do that on your phone. Okay. Oh, that's the one you're thinking about. Okay. That would be great. We are booking, I think, into November on that one. I'll have to look. Cassandra's been helping me with it, and I'll have to look and see. I think it's November. I think so, Tanya. I think so. So, yeah, I would be glad to have you do that. Let me see. I might be able to put the packet out to you on, I may be able to upload it onto Facebook and do it that way. Oh, wow, your birth month is November. That is great. That is great. Okay, any other questions? We've had some great conversation. Sounds good, Tanya. Okay. Well, I want to thank everybody for hanging out with us today. It's been really cool. So thank you all. And I hope you have a good evening. And I will talk to you soon. I'm going to live stream again Wednesday at 3. So and of course, the other channel is at noon. So thank you all for watching. Have a good night. Bye.